On to species 4, whose common name is the yellow butterfly palm. In this picture, I'm at my grandmother's house in Mbezi Beach in Dar es Salaam, which is the capital of Tanzania, and I'm holding a goat which belongs to one of my nieces. But behind us is the tree. Its specific name is Dipsas lutsens. This is derived from the genus Dipsas, and then lutsens is the specific epithet that explains that they live in the marshes. It is in kingdom Plantae, phylum Tracheophyta, class Liliopsida, order Auriculae, family Auricaceae, and genus Dipsas. This diagram shows the common structure for a vascular plant, which is in phylum Tracheophyta, and some of its characteristics are fibers, pollen grains to help them reproduce, xylem phloem, stomates, true stems, leaves, and roots, and they also grow vertically. Ecologically, it is a primary producer and it's a symbiote. It's part of some symbiotic relationships, and they produce energy and habitat for some organisms. It is host to a number of organisms and is parasited by a number of organisms, and they are typically consumed by bats, moths, and butterflies, hence its common name. Without these trees, the organisms who rely on them for their higher trophic levels will be forced to compete for resources. Their absence will also displace other organisms from their homes and force parasites to find new hosts to adapt to, or they'll just decrease in population. They are photoautotrophs, meaning that they synthesize light for carbon and energy, and their mode of reproduction is sporosmeiosis, which is also supported by their pollen grains. Its habitat is indoors in the marshes, in the subtropical and tropical climates, temperate climates, moist rainforest slopes, and along riverbeds. They can also be found in sandy or rocky areas. The environmental components that help it thrive is medium light, moist soil, medium to high humidity, and they are very cold sensitive. Its cuticles prevent water loss, its stomates promote gas exchange, and its fibers support its vertical position. They are a source of food and habitat to some organisms in its environment, which defines its niche. According to the Integrated Taxonomic Information System, its geographical range is the Caribbean territories and continental U.S. via introduction. But according to NC State and North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, it originates in Madagascar, which is off the coast of East Africa beside Tanzania. It is clumped and clustered in terms of its dispersion pattern, and its life cycle consists of it developing from a spore to a zygote to a mature sporophyte.
Species 5, C. elegans. Common name, roundworm. The scientific name is Caenorhabditis elegans. The background is there are a free-living, transparent nematode about 1 millimeters in length. The name is a blend of the Greek "caeno," meaning recent, rhabditis, rye-like, and Latin elegans is elegant. The phylum is Nematoda, kingdom is Animalia, class is Comodorea, order is Rhabdita, family is Rhabditae, and genus is Caenorhabditis. Modes of nutrition and reproduction. It mainly feeds on different species of bacteria. They can also take up partially processed plant or animal material found in decaying vegetation. C. elegans are chemoheterotrophs, which are organisms devouring of energy. C. elegans have two sexual forms: self-fertilizing hermaphrodites in males, asexual and gametic meiosis. Hermaphrodites can produce up to 300 cell progeny that are fertilized by the stored sperm. If mated with males, hermaphrodites are capable of producing 1,000 offspring. And this is the life cycle of a C. elegans. Source, range, distribution. My source was that I found it in the lab class. The range, you can find them in temporal region parts of the world. Distribution. The distributions of these worms are that they are clumped together but are spread out through the world. Living conditions. Habitat. C. elegans are terrestrial animals. They primarily live in soil, which the level of moisture needs to be constant. They can also be found on or in rotting vegetation above the ground. Adaptations. They have all physiological properties of an animal, the ability to replicate human diseases in a fast life cycle. Ecological role. They eat bacteria and grow in various types of bacteria-rich rotting plant material.
Species 6. Conifer. Scientific name, Phinophyta. Phylum, Coniferophyta. Phinophyta simply means gymnosperms that are cone-bearing seed plants with vascular tissues. Unique characteristics. Conifers grow needles instead of leaves and cones instead of flowers. Conifers can vary greatly in size, from the giant redwoods being some of the largest trees in the world to moderately sized juniper trees. They bear needles all year long. Classifications of a conifer. Kingdom, plant. Phylum, Coniferophyta. Class, Pinopsiata. Order, Pinalis. Family, Pinacea. Genus, Pinus. Modes of nutrition and reproduction. Conifers are members of the plant kingdom, so they are autotrophic. Autotrophic can be defined as an organism that can produce its own food using light, water, carbon dioxide, or other chemicals. They gain their nutrients from photosynthesis. Coniferous plants reproduce by growing seeds inside of cones. These cones ripen over the course of weeks, and the seeds are then dispersed either by being dropped, eaten, or carried away by forest wildlife. They also gain their carbon and energy sources from photosynthesis to gain carbon and energy from the sun to turn into chemical energy. This slide is continuation of reproduction. Source, range, and distribution. The range, I found this conifer on the ground under a pine tree. Geographical range, you can find these in cool, temperate, and boreal regions. Distribution, the cones are unevenly distributed, so they will be random. On this slide, this is a picture of me holding the cone and a bunch of other cones with it. Habitat and ecological role. Habitat and niche. Conifers can be found in large areas of land, most notably the taiga of the northern hemisphere, but also in similar cool climates and mountains further south. They commonly thrive in less fertile soils relative to soils found beneath deciduous forests. Ecological role. Conifers play a major part in the ecological roles because they cover a large part of the Earth's surface, representing the largest land habitat for plant and animal species. They provide food and shelter for animals and humans, are a source for pharmaceuticals, provide recreation, and filter water. If conifers were to go extinct, the species in nature could change drastically.